Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean, beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPS, my Twitter handle. Check me out there. Also check out the Put on Giants podcast. Just took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. Damn Yankees! I was so beautiful, so beautiful. That park said that park is a joke. I'm sorry. That right field is so short. Yeah. It's a joke. It's laughable. It's laughable. But so it took 2 out of 3 there. The USC podcast, the Student Body Right USC podcast coming up too as well. Waiting for the House ruling on the whole NIL situation. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. And a lot of good stuff there coming up forward. And also have the signal caller with Rasul Lopez. So got that coming up as well. So Marcus Johnson, Tape Don't Lie, on here talking about the Raiders. Let's just jump right into it too. How you doing today, first of all?
Good, man. You got me wanting to check the Orioles record.
Hey, listen, orange and black is orange and black. It's all good. It's all good. The only thing about the Orioles is just like the talent is so deep. It's just I just want them to keep it. Like I don't want them to when the contracts are up to just those guys end up with Dodger blue on or pinstripes. That's the only part for the Orioles management. They got to pay those guys. You can't draft that well and not not just do it. So it's crazy.
For sure.
Let's see here. How the Orioles?
They're 6-9. I mean, Toronto's 9-7, so they're not.
And the Yankees record isn't good. Isn't that great either? The Red Sox, So the NL East. I mean, the AL East is not gotten going yet. So I wouldn't worry about it. But we just have the this team from LA that just like they're still looking to add players now. The Dodgers, so it's ridiculous. So we gotta win every single game just to be in the vicinity of that team. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
For sure.
All right, so when you're watching, so over the years, and then the question I have for you is like over the years of watching tape year after year after year, what do you feel like your biggest your biggest growth as far as that goes? Because I think everybody like admittedly have to say to themselves that they made mistakes or there's still things they didn't know about that they know now. I think you have to be everybody has to be a better evaluator they were today than they were 4 or 5 years ago. So if you had to pick on one thing, what do you think you improved the most on?
I mean, probably I would say quarterback. I mean, I hate to kind of go there. Yeah. But I think what I look for now is totally different from what I looked for back then. Back then, it was more, that's how I fell into like the Josh Rosen thing because, you saw the anticipation, you saw some of that stuff on film. You're like, oh yeah, that's the exact stuff you want to do in the NFL. But pocket presence to me is like the biggest trait for a quarterback to have, for him to have a smooth transition. Like if a quarterback does not have good pocket presence, there's going to be issues at times to keep him from becoming like a top 5 quarterback. There's always going to be some kind of issue that he's going to have to deal with because he's not going to be able to handle pressure, which is going to happen. I mean, offensive lines, the defensive lines, you're going to face him, Myles Garrett. I mean, at some point, it don't matter how good your tackle is. Yep. He's going to lose to Myles Garrett at some point, right? And you're going to be dealing with pressure. Dexter Lawrence's, the inside interior guys are even better than they were before. So I think pocket presence is such a big thing. And I think that's why, Joe Milton is somebody that actually looked better in the NFL than he did in college because he had great pocket presence. So he's not going to have that problem of handling pressure like like some other quarterbacks have when they're coming out. And the pressure gets to them and they start making a lot of mistakes. And that's why like Bo Nix, if he dealt with a lot of having a great offensive line last year, if he has his offensive line breaks down though, you wonder how he actually ends up playing in a different environment of dealing with some of the tough things that he'd have to deal with. So yeah, quarterback is a big one. I was also say on the other side of the ball, I would say probably with like cornerback, probably looking more at the athleticism that a guy has,
Mm-hmm.
trying to see exactly what he could do athletically and not being so much trusting of film. And I would say that overall, as a growth too, is understanding that NFL, especially first round NFL players,
Yeah.
it has to be the best athletes that are on the field. And people overlook measurements and people get super into film. And I'm a film guy myself, but I would say measurements when it comes to first round picks extremely matter. And when you get to the back end of the draft, that's where the film comes in. Because if that guy has great film, he could still be a good football player no matter his athletic limitations. That's why I have a little bit of pushback on Ashton Genty not doing his workout just because of that. Because if the Raiders can take him at 6, I want you to be Saquon Barkley or LaDainian Tomlinson athletically, not just on film.
Yeah, no, I got that. I got that. You mentioned Josh Rosen. Mine was Zach Wilson. You couldn't tell me nothing about Zach Wilson back in the day, boy. You couldn't tell me nothing about Zach Wilson. I was like, watch this kid, and then I was like, okay. Now let me take a note of why that did not work out.
Yeah.
Of course. The Raiders off season. You talk about a lot on your show. How would you grade the off season? Like, I mean, did they do I know they didn't get like some of the big names, but in your opinion, what would you have? Do you like what they did, or would you have kind of gone maybe a big name person on defense and offense, and then just do what they did as far as the low price guys?
Yeah, I think I would say overall, I feel like it's a B minus because they traded for a quarterback that's steady.
Yes.
I think that was a big thing. The Raiders don't have to, fully reach for a quarterback if they don't want one, but they can still take one just because the big way his contract is. He's a 1 year, $40 million guaranteed. They can still take a quarterback. So there's nothing really holding them back from doing that with the way Gino's contract set up. But I like how they did that. But me personally, I think they should have added more veterans around this team because at this point, when we're looking at it, the defense is going to be extremely young next year. Like it's going to be a couple of young starting corners, probably a young starting linebacker that they're probably going to add in the draft, and they're going to be expecting that guy to come in and play right away.
Mm-hmm.
And and if they draft the linebacker in the second round or something, and Amari Burney beats him out, hopefully Amari Burney is like really good, and that's the reason for it. But you're going to be a little bit worried about that. Yeah. So you want the Raiders are going to be really young on defense, and Pete Carroll does a good job with young defensive players, just historically. So you could see why he has that philosophy, but I would have liked for them to add more veterans. And there's still probably some veteran corners out there that they could add and bring in and see what they could do. But at this point, that's probably what I'm more disappointed about is just bringing in more veteran defensive players. And I guess you could say like Devin White and Leonard Roberts are fine, but I think more cornerback for me is, they're going really thin, and that feels like that's going to be a focus in the draft.
Yeah, no question about it. I just did a quick simulator real quick just for this show. And this is the moment of what to do if you're the Raiders. There's Genty sitting there and Sanders sitting there. This kind of feels like a moment of like, what road do the Raiders really want to go on this one? Because obviously Sanders will not be there in the second round. Genty, like you mentioned it, as far as like you're a little bit of trepidation because he didn't work out. I think Genty's going to be a good pro.
Yeah,
it's just that what level of running back is he going to be? And then you have to have that mindset to be like, this draft could be the undrafted free agent market, and this draft is going to be competitive. Like it's so many running backs in this draft. What would you do, or would you want the Raiders to do if they come up with a situation where like at 6, which it's feasible that you're sitting there with Genty on the board and Sanders on the board?
What I would do if I had to pick between those two, I would pick Sanders. And I feel like the Raiders would pick Sanders. I'm still not out on the Raiders taking Shedeur Sanders. I'm still not out on that. Just because the Tom Brady connection, they have a good familiarity with him, and he wants to go there. That's one of his places that he wants to go. I think they're eyeing New Orleans at this point too. They probably didn't see New Orleans, but I think that's after the Raiders.
Yep.
So I've been trying to tell fans about this for a while that if he gets to 6, like he is a strong possibility. And then like with the 1 year $40 million deal that basically Geno Smith is playing on. I mean, after next year, I mean, 18 what is 18 million guaranteed these days, right? I mean,
Yep.
on a cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Broncos got rid of Russell Wilson, got like 89 million dead cap, and
Oh yeah,
they didn't care,
yeah.
right?
And nobody's caring. The amount of money people are paying people to go away now. It's just like they're just like, okay, all right, sorry, man, it's not working out. You gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't stop them from taking Sanders, and I still think that's a possibility. I mean, he's coming in for a visit this week, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. But it could be Genty too. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy
Yep.
if they take Ashton Genty. It's just like, is this team ready for that? Right? I mean, you could maybe make the case for quarterback, but quarterback is
The
just
Cowboys are ready for a Genty. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the
Yeah.
Cowboys, people like that are ready for a Genty. I don't think this team. The Raiders might need 2 backs in this draft. Let's just call it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, seriously, Mostert is it. Like, you can't really roll with that.
Yeah.
Let's roll with these quarterbacks. Make it like, but to that scenario, I would pick Sanders as well. I think I just think it makes too much sense. And then you talk about Brady. Brady wants the quarterback to sit. Like, you know what I mean? And then if we have Carroll and you have Geno, you're probably not going to be in the top 10 next year. Like even with the holes they have on the roster, those guys usually win anywhere between 7 and 10 games. You got Sanders, you got Ward, you got Dart. Can you give us a little something on all 3 of those quarterbacks, because those guys are the top 3 right there?
Yeah. Cam Ward. What I really like about Cam Ward is I think the best thing he does is see the field really well. I think that's really underrated part of his game is how well he sees the field, how well he reads coverages, how well he understands when to anticipate and get rid of the ball on time. I think that's really underrated part of his game that a lot of people try to label him as the runaround guy, which he does. I mean, he does always try to keep a play alive, and maybe he holds on to the ball a little bit too long, but there is times, and you saw what Miami did. They were able to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker. And I just love the way he reads the field. And I love that he's just a gamer. Like, I think people underrate how, when Miami was down a lot of games, that Cam Ward just went to work. You know what I mean? And he had some great fourth quarter performances. I mean, the one against Cal was pretty incredible. He had some incredible throws in that fourth quarter of that game. And he led them all the way back to win that game, in a game they shouldn't have been. And even like the Syracuse game.
He almost came back.
Almost came back in that one, and his defense did not help him at all. So, and that team went 10-2, and that team was not good. I mean, they were 10-2 because of Cam Ward. Let's keep it real. And and the same thing with Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur Sanders' team is not good either. That was around him, and they found a way to win games because of him. I think that's a big underrated part of his game that people don't talk about a lot is how, even with the wide receivers that are coming out with him, besides Travis Hunter, of course, I mean, but Will Shepard and the JC Horns, those guys might go undrafted. So, so he didn't have a lot of talent. I mean, you don't even know who his tight end is, you know what I mean? So, or any of his offensive line, or none of those guys getting drafted, you know what I'm saying? So the players that were around Shedeur Sanders, I think he has a lot of leadership to him as well. But he's just a very accurate quarterback. I think his arm is a little concerning. Can he drive the ball downfield? He throws a great dig route. He's very fit for a West Coast offense, but it had to be a short passing offense unless he does the Joe Burrow thing where he gets more torque in his hips and finds a way to get more drive in that football. But he's an accurate quarterback. When he has a regular drop and he gets the ball out of his hands, he doesn't miss short passes. That's one thing I know about Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't really miss intermediate passes, right, over the middle. So that's one thing that I know about him that I really like. Jackson Dart is interesting because Jackson's Dart has an oppressive deep ball. He does throw the ball deep well. It's more about with him is that he's such a project. And I think that's really something that people don't talk about a lot with him. Like, he has really bad feet. He's what I'll call a hopper, which means he likes to play on his toes. And when you do that, you're always late. It's kind of like 2017, 2018 Derek Carr, if you're a Raiders fan. He's kind of the outlook where he's late all the time because he's playing on his toes and the feet just aren't right. And then he becomes inaccurate when he has to go through his reads because his feet can't be set. So there's a lot of things like that with Jackson Dart that, you have to really fix him. So he is the kind of the candidate too. Like if you take him in the second round or something like that, that you want to sit him for a whole year because you want, Greg Olson to work on his feet. He's got to get that feet right before we even put you out there because if your feet aren't right, you're going to be taking sacks and things like that. And like the Kentucky game is very concerning with me. So that's kind of like my thoughts on those two quarterbacks.
What are we missing about Tyler's show? Like, am I missing? Because I mean, I've taken notes because when people tell me that he's the best quarterback in this draft, like I gotta, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not seeing their vision.
Yeah, I mean, if he was 21, then yeah, I think people.
Yes, he's 26, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 26. He's an old man, and he wasn't good until he's 25 in college football. I think that's a little bit concerning to me. I mean, he's a really talented guy. I mean, great arm, can make every throw. Yeah. Probably has maybe the best arm in this draft. I mean, you could make the case for Jalen Monroe, but he is impressive with the ball in his hands. The thing with Tyler Shook, though, is he under pressure, like he is a panicker. He panics and he just throw the ball. He just throw the ball in there, like a little underhand, any way possible for him to not take a hit.
Yeah, okay.
That's my thing with him. Like if that's why I don't know if he'll be a good NFL quarterback just because same thing I'm talking about, like pocket presence, handling pressure. Yeah. He doesn't have that, right? So all that talent, all that the ability to make those throws, you get him under pressure a lot. He's just, I mean, there's this one play that I saw Sam Monson, I commented on from PFF, where he's just like, guys running, he just throws it in the air and like.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, it was either underhand ball right to the secondary. Like I was just like, dude, this is like, okay, I'm not. That was pretty crazy. That was wild. Is there anybody you think would be? I mean, I know there's one thing about, I think people in the NFL, and I think Ryan and I said this before on the show, that people in the NFL like Jalen more than the fans like Jalen as a quarterback. So I don't want to make it a whole quarterback show, but what are your thoughts about Jalen Monroe? Because he does have a lot of ability.
Yeah, I think Jalen Monroe has probably the most upside in this draft. Right. If you hit on Jalen Monroe, you could have a superstar because if he could end up getting some throws and if you have to take the Jalen Hurts route with him, like, and keep him to like 20 throws a game, have him help in the run game, get a great running back with him that you could really, work the run game and, make them play 11 on 11 because he's a dynamic runner, man. Like, he is probably the best runner since Lamar Jackson. I know Jaden Daniels was last year running all over everybody, but like Jalen Monroe is it's different to watch. Like when he tucks that football, he becomes a running back and it's just like a totally different mentality. And he's like just runs a 4.37 and he can make so many explosive plays with his legs. But he also has he's like kind of like Jackson Dart too. He's a great deep pass. He's probably one of the best deep passers in this draft. So if you have that outlook of what Pete Carroll likes to do, which is like run the football and throw deep, like he did with Russell Wilson, like Jalen Monroe could do that. Like that's something that he could do. It's more like the short intermediate stuff, but I think you could work with him and work with his mechanics. But there's always going to be that explosiveness where, if he's a part of the run game, the Raiders are they're gonna win games. Maybe they don't win Super Bowls if he never becomes that passer, but he's such a great runner that they would win games because they'd be able to play defense, and run the ball like crazy, and especially if they got a great running back.
As far as speaking of running back, this draft is full of them. I'm not. So like I said, I'm not really like going. If Sanders is there, I'm taking Sanders. Genty can go somewhere else. What are your thoughts about the other top running backs here? Who are the Raiders who, could definitely be looking at, like, say if they got Sanders in the first round, definitely be looking at maybe a running back in the second round.
Yeah, Trayvon Henderson is the one that sticks out a lot. Just the Chip Kelly, he worked from Ohio State, but I love his film. I just love how tough he is, the way he runs. He could catch the football. He does everything for you. Blocks, catches the football, runs the ball, doesn't have a lot of carries in college, so he's not coming in with that workload like kind of
Mm-hmm.
like Ashton Gentry had, and he's gonna be a little bit fresh when he comes in. So the question is at his size, can he handle more carries at 202 pounds? That's a little bit of a question there, but you saw what Bucky Irving did last year. It's a possibility. Bucky Irving does not have the athletic ability that Trayvon Henderson did. You see what
That's true.
Bucky Irving did out there.
Yeah, I get
As
that.
long as you get the vision and you could play, and then you add in the athletic ability that Trayvon Henderson is, that means he
Mm-hmm.
could be even better than Bucky Irving. So I think I really like him. I like another guy that I like is Caleb Johnson. He's perfect for the outside zone. Definitely not the fastest guy in the world, but I think he has more game speed than he has 40
Yeah.
time. Definitely he's a long strider too, which doesn't always help with the 40 and those type of what I would say like that just a 40-yard dash, because I mean you're a long strider, you might take a little bit longer to get your speed up a little bit. So and he's a straight up runner too, but I do like him. I mean, Scatterbo I like a lot. Trying to think like Devin Neal,
Yeah.
somebody that I really like. I really like Devin Neal from Kansas, who are basically is like I feel like it's a Josh Jacobs clone from the 40 time to the way they run the football to the way they catch the football to their size. They're both 5'11", 220 coming out, both ran 4'6",
Yeah.
but have the ability to create in the backfield. So I really like him. And I mean, there's a lot of running backs that I like.
This list is so
Ton.
this list is
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, even if you wanted the banger, you can get the kid from Rutgers. You can do so many different things with all the. I mean, DJ Gibbons from
Yeah, DJ Giddens, I like him.
from KSU. So that's a good guy here. A situation has a little bit less depth would be probably corner. As far
Mm-hmm.
as corner goes, if they didn't go anywhere about corner, they go somewhere else besides corner in the first round. That means Barron, Will Johnson, Harrison might not be available next.
Mm-hmm.
Revel from East Carolina. I would the Raiders with guys who have had injuries. That kind of scares me.
Yeah.
But who in that second round, third round class of corners do you like?
I like I like is Shavon Shavon. I
Shayvon.
gotta say I gotta say the name right because I am saying it wrong. He changed it recently,
Okay.
but yeah, Revel Jr. I really do like him because he is the ultimate Pete Carroll corner where he's 6'3",
Mm-hmm.
fast, athletic, and he has about like almost 33-inch arms, I believe. Definitely a player that was a playmaker in 2023, has some first round buzz, got hurt this last year, but he had 2 interceptions and a pick six in like those 3 games.
Yep.
So shows the type of player he is, and he's like exactly what Pete Carroll would like. So I like him. Azariah Thomas from Florida State is another guy to look at that I feel like has that great press coverage skills. Probably one of the best press coverage cornerbacks in this draft is Azariah Thomas. So I really like him as well. I think that's the type of player that the length he has is going to be something that entices Pete Carroll. Overall, because I mean the length thing is he kind of went away from that the last couple of years, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how much of that is John Snyder just kind of taking the reins a little bit, and
Yep.
it's Pete Carroll's philosophy. So we're going to find that out. There's Darian Porter too as well, who fits exactly what they want, and he runs a 4.3, and he only gave up like 5 catches all year this year. So he's definitely a big player, and a couple of sleepers that I like. I like Jacob Parrish from Kansas State. If they
Yep.
want to pick him up from a slot, I really like him. I really like his play, late plays. Zaw Frazier from UTSA is another guy that I really like, and Trey Amos too,
Yes.
and is a player that I really like. Who doesn't might he might not have the length that exactly that Pete Carroll covets, but it is the press coverage, the ability to play in zone, the ability to tackle. Trey almost does it all. So I really feel like he's a really good player too. So it's gonna be one of those things where I feel like those are some of the corners that I really like them taking in the next couple of rounds. But yeah, I feel like Zaw Frazier, you could probably lock him in the fifth round because I feel like that's my lock in fifth round pick. Zaw Frazier, six with his 33-inch arms, and he's 6'4" too. He's basically Tyreek Woolen, same school, everything.
I am. Obviously doing research for this draft. I am flabbergasted at how Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart did not make did not make the college football playoff. Like that team was loaded. My lord,
Loaded.
dude! There are so many Ole Miss rebels in this draft. It is unbelievable. Or who will get drafted? They might have the most players drafted in this
Yeah.
draft. It's crazy, and they didn't. Oh man, that loss to Florida makes you kind of wonder what the hell's going on there. Um, I, I'm just going through the positions of need for the Raiders here with Marcus Johnson. Tape don't lie. We did cornerback, we did running back, wide receiver. After, is there life after? I would say Matthew Golden. If I would say Abuka. Because the first four guys, look like they're going to be Tet, Luther Burden, Matthew Golden, and then Mbuka.
Uh, After that, it gets a little fishy. You're
Yeah.
getting really into the slot receiver land, which the Raiders do need. They need a
Need.
slot receiver, right? It is a need for them. They met with Noel at the combine, so that, I mean, Jalen Noel is a good player. He's not a dominant guy though, but he is a good player. I just wouldn't like put the whole like you expect him to come in and dominate. There's players like Nick Nash who I really like for San Jose State who
Yep.
play slot. He really reminds me of Tyler Boyd. He can really play. It just gets not very exciting. Like even Jaden Higgins is a good player, right? But Higgins is not somebody that you kind of have to move him inside too, and he's a big X, right? And you really have to move him inside. You don't feel too good about that when it comes to Higgins. So I mean, there's him there too as well. I mean, Trey Harris to Ole Miss. That's
Yeah.
a guy I really
Oh,
like.
oh, miss. There you
Yeah,
go.
Trey Harris is a guy I really like it, and one of the reasons I really like Trey Harris is just because he at Ole Miss ran like three routes, and he actually is a good route runner when you watch him,
Yeah.
and he didn't even get the chance to show off that ability at Ole Miss. So there's some untouched potential with him as well. So that's why I really like Trey Harris in the later rounds too as well. And I'm still a big Tess Johnson fan. A lot of people are
They
down with
cooled
Tess
off a little
Johnson.
bit on Tez
Yeah,
Johnson a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He still can get open, and I think if you can make sure you get people's hands off him because he is a small guy, he's a tough dude. But I mean, I think Chip Kelly would be able to do some work with him, put him in the backfield, get him on some choice routes out of the backfield, maybe some like wheel routes out of the backfield, get him one-on-one on linebackers and things like that. You can get creative with him where you can win, and he's just such a tough player. I really like it. I really like Tess Johnson. But there's some of the wide receivers I like, and even like the local guy Ricky White. I like Ricky White too.
You know,
He's a
V.
guy I really like. Yeah, UNLV. I like
Yeah.
him too as well. So there are some wide receivers. It's just nothing like to write home about. Like nothing
Yeah.
to really. You're not going to get like a number one guy in this draft, really, in my opinion.
Safeties here. Malachi Stark seems to be the consensus choice at one.
Yeah,
With the Raiders we picking, you're looking at maybe the Kevin. If they don't go, I mean, they could go Malachi. They could trade back and get Starks in the first pick. But if that doesn't happen, you got Winston, you got Watts. I heard you guys talk about Watts. I know Glenn is a Notre Dame fan, but
yeah.
sorry. Um, but but I know he likes him a lot. But what are your thoughts about the rest of the safeties here, like Winston, Watts, and Sanker and stuff, people like that.
Yeah. No, I like the safety class too. I think the safety class is pretty good. There's gonna be some good safeties you can probably get in the later rounds. I really like Xavier Watts. I'm probably higher
Yeah,
on Xavier Watts than a lot of people, but he's just a playmaker, man. And he's just the 6 interceptions he made. They're all like great coverage plays. They're not like him just being in the right spot, the ball bouncing in the air, and he's ended up catching it or something like that. It's him making plays in coverage. I really like Xavier Watson, and he sees everything so well. There's a little bit of a tackling issue, as a safety, which worries me a little bit, but I really like him. I mean, there's Nick Umiori,
yeah.
who I think is a corner because he won't tackle. So I can't have my safety playing like a corner. So, but he can cover. I mean, that's what he can cover, right? He can cover.
He got half the job right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I say he's a
yeah.
corner. I know he's 220 pounds. I don't care. You're gonna be a 220-pound corner from me because, he tackles like one. Like you want your safety to be able to tackle.
Uh-huh.
And that's not something he does very well. Andrew Makuba is a guy that I really like. He played
Yeah.
slot corner at Clemson for 2 years, and he came into Texas, played it first time at free safety, and he got 5 interceptions last year. He has a lot of great film this past season as a what I would say safety, and then he made the final play against ASU from the slot. He came
Yeah.
down and he guarded the wide receiver, played from the slot. So that's could be something that they look at too if they want to have that guy that's a little bit of a hybrid type of player. But I was making the case on the Tape to Lie episode that's going to come up. The best safety in this draft is Johnny Barron. So,
Johnny Barron. I like that dude a lot. He can do so many things. I like that dude a lot. I like Johnny Barron.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like that's what he is. He's like a Jabril Peppers type of player, which I think will intrigue the Raiders a little bit. So, but I mean, this safety class is pretty good. Another guy that I really like that's not talked about a lot is Jonas Sanker from
Yeah,
Virginia.
I like Sanker.
Yeah, Sanker's a good player too. So there's some good safeties in this draft. It's not really a deep position, but if you want a guy in the first 3 rounds, you can find somebody.
Your the running back, and two more things before you go.
Okay.
The running back who has the best pass pro, because when rookie running backs don't play, a lot of times it's pass protection is one of the biggest reasons why. And then your top 5 players in this draft.
All right. I would say the best pass protector guy is Ollie Gordon. Okay. A lot of people go Trey Henderson. It's Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon is a beast when he's blocking. He's mean. He likes to do it.
He likes to do it. No, that's a huge part of it. I mean, it keeps you on the field as a running back.
Yeah. He is a beast when he is blocking. So that is somebody that if they came in and they had to come and be a third down guy, and he catches pretty well too. He just catches the football pretty well. That's the type of dude that you like. Ollie Gordon will come in and block. He's to be honest, Ollie Gordon, with how this Raiders team is, and if they decided that they didn't want him to be the starter right away, he might come in camp and just block so well and be such a tough football player that Pete Carroll starts him. Yeah, he's that type of guy, right? So I really like him. So my top 5 players in this draft, if I had to go, I'd probably go. I'll go Abdul Carter, number 1. I go Travis Hunter, number 2. I'm being pretty basic here. Let's see what. I'm a little lower on Mason Graham the most. If I would just want a personal top 5 favorites, I'm gonna go with personal top 5 favorite. Like I like Johnny Barron a lot. I think Johnny Barron is a beast. I think if you put him in the right spot in the right
the film looks really good for him. I mean, he can
dominate. He can dominate however he wants to. Trying to think of some. I mean, I like Will Campbell. Will Campbell a lot. I still a big Will Campbell fan. A lot of people don't ignore the short arms and stuff. But in my opinion, you just move him to guard and you'll be fine. Yeah. So it's like, it's not a big deal. Moving to guard, he might be Zach Martin. You know what I mean? Like Zach Martin played tackle in college too, and then ended up having that kind of short arm type of thing, and they moved him inside, and it worked out. But I'm not saying he's going to be Zach Martin, but Will Campbell does have great technique and great film, and he's one of those players I really like. And probably the 5th guy, I'd probably go Cam Ward. I think people are sleeping on Cam Ward a lot, to be honest. I think Cam Ward, I feel like Cam Ward is so safe just because of his leadership mentality and intangibles is so important as a quarterback. It's probably the most important trait that a quarterback has to have. You could talk about all the other stuff, but he is a gamer and he has intangibles.
I mean, a couple guys you mentioned would be Campbell. Somebody did a breakdown. I'm not sure if it was, I don't know who it was, but somebody did a breakdown of him just picking up stunts.
Yeah,
it was pretty impressive. Like I was like, so every time somebody says I don't want Will Campbell, I'm just saying, like watch that film of him just break up, it's pretty flawless. The way he picked up stunts that day, and I think as a Pac-12, I mean, we're former Pac-12 guys because we're not, because you're at ASU and USC. Now it's different conferences, but I remember, Cam Ward at Washington. I was hoping that he came out last year just because I was like, hey, maybe the Raiders could get him later on in last year's draft. But I love Cam Ward as a player. I've watched him a long time. I think the Lincoln missed on that one. I mean, that was. I mean, he looked on the miss on that one because I think that kid really wanted to. The kid really wanted to go to SC. And then in the portal. But I like Cam Ward a lot. He is a tremendous player.
Yeah, no
question about it. And then Titans will be lucky. But the one thing I'll say, the Titans front office is a mess. So I wish him luck. I do wish him luck. I do wish him luck.
I do too. Because who's he throw to over there? To be honest,
I don't know. I mean, is Ridley still there?
I think so. I think I really might be.
Hopefully in this draft they can figure it out. But I don't know. It's crazy. All right, Tape Don't Lie. Marcus Johnson, you can catch him on YouTube, catch him everywhere else. The Friday Night Live show, it's a good show, and also they got Matt Holder on there as well too. So check out that as well. Thanks for coming on, man. See you next time. Take care, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, dude.
No problem.